I'm 28 male, software engineer, work from home. I'm the kind of person who documents everything, logs, backups, version control. It's just how my brain works. I mention that because it's the reason this story ends the way it does. My girlfriend and I had been together 2 years. For the last 3 months of that, things were just off. Not explosive, not dramatic, just that slow grind where two people stop making sense together. We both knew it was ending. We just hadn't said it yet. Then one Tuesday night, she said something that changed everything. I was at my desk finishing a deployment. She was on the couch, scrolling her phone. I could feel the tension in the room like a low hum. She'd been distant all week, and I figured she was building up to something. She was. I've been talking to people, she said. Still looking at her phone. About what? About us. About how you treat me. I turned my chair around. What does that mean? She shrugged. One of those slow, deliberate shrugs designed to make you feel like you've already lost an argument. My friends ask questions. I answer them. What exactly are you telling them? And then she said it. Calm. Almost bored. Like she was reading off a grocery list. I'm telling them you're emotionally abusive. That way, when we break up, they'll already be on my side. The room went quiet. We haven't broken up, I said. Not yet. I looked at her for a long moment. What you just described, spreading false statements about me to damage my reputation before we've even ended things, that's defamation. She actually laughed. Oh, you're going to sue me? Over a breakup? I'm going to protect myself. That's all. She rolled her eyes, grabbed her keys, and left to stay at her friend's place. I sat in my apartment in the silence she left behind and thought about what she'd just told me. Casually. Like it was nothing. Like I wasn't even worth the effort of pretending. Here's the thing about being a software engineer. You solve problems with systems. You don't panic. You build something that makes panicking unnecessary. I opened my laptop. Not for work. The next morning I drove to Best Buy and spent 2 hours in the security camera aisle. I came home with 4 1080p indoor cameras, motion-activated, cloud-synced, and a video doorbell. I mounted them in every common area of my apartment: living room, kitchen, hallway, front door. Not the bedroom. Not the bathroom. Every place where conversations happened. Before I bought a single camera, I looked up Texas recording laws. One party, consent state. Recording in your own home is completely legal. I wanted to be sure before I did anything. She came back that evening with a bag of her things and a carefully neutral expression. She looked around the apartment and spotted them. You got cameras. Home security. There was a break-in in my building 2 weeks ago. Both of those things were true. She didn't push it. She should have. What followed was 2 weeks of her testing me. She'd start conversations designed to provoke, raising her voice, making accusations mid-argument, waiting for me to lose it. I didn't lose it. I stayed calm, measured, and boring because I knew every word was being recorded and I needed the record to be clean. But she was escalating in other directions. Mutual friends started going cold on me. Group chats went quiet when I was tagged. Her best friend, someone I'd helped move apartments, someone I'd lent $300 that was never paid back, stopped responding to my messages entirely. Then her older sister called me. I just want you to know, she said, voice tight, that what you've been doing to her is not okay. She told us everything. What did she tell you? I asked. I was recording the call. That you control her finances. That you isolate her from her friends. That you scream at her. I let the silence stretch. None of that is true. She wouldn't lie about something like this. Okay. I appreciate you calling. I hung up and sat with it. She controls her own bank account. I actively encouraged her to spend time with her friends. I have never raised my voice at her, and I now had 2 weeks of footage proving it. She was building a case. A false one. And she was doing it with people who loved her and had no reason not to believe her. That's what made it dangerous. She wasn't just lying. She was weaponizing people who trusted her. 3 days later, she sat down across from me and told me she wanted to break up. Okay, I said. She blinked. That's it. We've been heading here for months. I agree it's time. Something shifted in her expression, a flash of frustration that I hadn't given her a reaction to use. She wanted a fight. I gave her nothing. She came back the following Saturday with her best friend to collect her things. The two of them moved through the apartment, filling boxes, and she was performing the entire time. Loud sighs. Comments about things I never did or always did. At one point, she picked up a framed photo of us and looked at it with this theatrical sadness. I really thought this was going to be different, she said. Me too, I said. She put it down. Then her voice climbed. But you made it impossible to love you. You're cold. You're controlling. You made me feel like nothing. Her best friend watched me, waiting. I nodded. You can take the photo if you want. She stared at me. That's all you have to say? I think everything that needs to be said has already been recorded. She left 20 minutes later. Within 48 hours, my phone was lighting up. Mutual friends, people I'd known independently before she and I ever started dating, were sending me variations of the same message. I can't believe you did that to her. She trusted you, and you treated her like garbage. Don't contact me anymore. One guy I'd played rec league basketball with for 3 years just sent one word. Disgusting. I didn't respond to any of them. I screenshotted everything and saved it to a folder I'd already labeled Evidence, Outgoing Defamation Campaign. Because that's what this was. Organized, deliberate, moving through my social circle like a brush fire. She posted on Instagram. Nothing explicit, nothing that named me directly, but specific enough. A series of quotes about surviving emotional abuse. A selfie with red eyes and the caption, "Healing looks different for everyone." Her followers, many of whom knew me, filled her comments with support. I documented it from a secondary account. Then she called my mother. I don't know how she got the number. Maybe I'd left it somewhere. Didn't matter. My mother called me on a Wednesday morning, voice shaking. She called me last night. She told me you'd been hurting her emotionally for 2 years, that she was afraid of you toward the end. I closed my eyes. Mom, that is not true. She was crying. I know. She's very good at that. Long pause. She said you'd say that you deny everything and make her sound crazy. And there it was. The pre-inoculation. She told my mother I would deny it, so my denial itself became evidence of guilt. It was calculated in a way that made my chest tighten, not from fear, but from something colder. Clarity. Mom, come over this weekend. There's something I need to show you. She wasn't finished. 2 weeks after the breakup, I got a call from my landlord. Someone had filed a noise complaint against my unit, claiming I'd been heard screaming at a woman on multiple occasions over the past several months. I asked him for 24 hours. I spent that evening going through my cloud storage. 6 weeks of footage, time-stamped continuous. I pulled clips from every evening she'd been at my apartment. The record was clean. I called my landlord back, told him I had security footage from the relevant dates showing no such incidents, and offered to provide copies. I also mentioned, gently, that a false noise complaint could constitute harassment. The complaint was dropped. Then she went to my workplace. Not in person. She connected with a colleague on LinkedIn and sent them a message saying she was a concerned former partner and that she felt my employer should be aware of my pattern of behavior toward women. My colleague forwarded it to me immediately with a note that said, "Heads up, this seems unhinged." I forwarded it to my attorney, someone I'd consulted once before for a contract dispute, small firm, solid guy. I'd called him the week the cameras went up, just to understand my options. He told me then, document everything, don't engage, and the moment you have a pattern, we talk next steps. We were now talking next steps. What she's doing hits multiple areas, he told me. The social media posts, vague but potentially actionable. The noise complaint, if provably false, is harassment. The LinkedIn message to your employer is the most serious. That's tortious interference with a business relationship. That one has real teeth. What do I do? Keep doing exactly what you're doing. I kept doing it. Then she posted it on a Thursday night. A full paragraph. Instagram, public account. No name, but specific enough that anyone in our shared social circle would know exactly who she meant. I stayed in a relationship for 2 years with someone who controlled, manipulated, and emotionally abused me. I didn't speak up, because I was scared of what he'd do. I'm speaking up now because I refuse to let him rewrite history. He knows what he did. 47 comments in the first hour. 3 of them from mutual friends using my nickname. My attorney called me the next morning. This is what we've been waiting for. Public statement, specific enough to identify you, false enough to be actionable, documented history of similar statements to third parties, including your employer and your mother. We have a clean defamation case. Libel per se, potentially, given the abuse allegation. Under Texas law, libel per se covers statements that are false and damage someone's reputation, especially statements accusing someone of criminal conduct or serious moral wrongdoing. A public accusation of emotional abuse, presented as established fact, qualifies. We send a cease and desist first, he said. Standard procedure. Gives her a chance to retract. If she complies, you decide whether to still pursue damages. If she doesn't comply, we file, and the evidence goes with it. The cease and desist went out that Friday. Formal, precise, outlining every platform, every false claim, and referencing, in general terms, that documented evidence existed contradicting her statements. She had 7 days to respond. She responded in 4. Not to my attorney. On Instagram. I just received a legal threat from my abuser trying to silence me. This is exactly what abusers do. They use money and power to intimidate survivors into staying quiet. I will not be silenced. Every word I said is true, and I stand by it completely. 93 comments. Shares. Victim advocacy accounts getting tagged. Her best friend posted a separate story calling me manipulative and dangerous. The sister reposted it with "Protect survivors at all costs." She had just publicly tripled down. My attorney called within the hour. She just made our case significantly stronger. She's confirmed the statements were intentional and that she stands by them as factual. We file Monday. Before we file, I said, I want to release the evidence to the people she lied to. He paused. That's your call. Legally, nothing stops you. But be strategic. Don't post it publicly. Send it directly to the people she specifically named or involved. That keeps it targeted and removes any appearance of retaliation. I spent the weekend building a package. 5 clips from the security footage, each one short, each one specific. A brief factual introduction explaining when the cameras were installed, why, and the legal basis for the recordings. No editorializing. No name calling. Just footage. Clip 1. Her going through my phone while I was in the shower. 11 minutes. My passcode typed in, clearly visible on camera. Clip 2. A phone call with her best friend, captured on the living room camera while she thought I was asleep. I just need to make sure everyone's on my side before I actually end it. I don't want to look like the bad guy. Not, I'm scared of him. Not, he's been hurting me. I don't want to look like the bad guy. Clip 3. Her call with her sister, describing our relationship with fabricated incidents. Specific nights. Specific claims. None of which matched footage from those dates. Clip 4. An evening she later described in her post as a night I screamed at her until she was shaking. The footage showed us sitting on opposite ends of the couch watching television. The most dramatic thing that happened was me getting up to get a glass of water. Clip 5. A conversation between her and her best friend in my apartment. Her best friend had been visiting, where they discussed, in detail, the strategy of getting ahead of the breakup by making sure people knew her side first. I sent the package to 8 people. Privately, individually. 3 mutual friends who'd messaged me with accusations. The colleague she'd contacted on LinkedIn. Her best friend. Her sister. My mother. My landlord, specifically the clip covering the nights referenced in the noise complaint. Every message was identical. You were given information about me that I believe you deserve to evaluate against the full picture. The attached footage was recorded legally in my home under Texas state law. I'm not asking you to take my side. I'm asking you to have accurate information. Then I put my phone down and went for a drive. I came back 2 hours later to 17 notifications. The basketball guy who'd texted me disgusting 2 weeks earlier. I don't know what to say. I feel sick. I believed her completely. I'm so sorry. My colleague. I already knew something was off. I've shown this to HR, so there's a formal record on file. Her sister sent a long message. She was floored. She said she'd had no idea.
She said she felt used.
She apologized and asked if there was anything she could do. I told her, tell the truth if anyone asks you directly. That's all. But the one that hit hardest was from her best friend. The one who'd been in my apartment helping her move boxes. The one who'd given me that look. The one who was herself on camera. She sent a voice memo. I almost didn't listen to it. She was crying. I was part of this. I didn't make up any lies, but I helped her plan it, and I repeated things I knew weren't fully true. And watching that video of me sitting in your apartment talking about making sure people knew her side first, I can't pretend that's okay.
I'm sorry.
You didn't deserve any of this. Then my attorney called. She took the posts down. Both of them. And I just received a message from someone identifying themselves as her family's attorney requesting a conversation about resolution before we proceed with filing. They came to the table. Her family's attorney was practical. No dramatics. He knew exactly what they were sitting across from. Footage that dismantled 2 months of carefully constructed narrative. He knew about the LinkedIn message. He knew about the noise complaint. He knew that if this went to court, she wasn't just losing. She was losing publicly, with a documented record of premeditation. They proposed a settlement. A written, legally binding agreement in which she acknowledged making false statements, agreed to issue a private written retraction to every individual she'd contacted with false claims, agreed to remove all related social media content, and agreed to a financial settlement covering my attorney's fees plus damages. My attorney walked me through it. Under Texas defamation law, we had a solid case, but litigation is long and expensive and unpredictable. The settlement gave me everything meaningful, the acknowledgement, the retractions, the fees. And she had to sign a document, on record, admitting the statements were false. That document exists permanently. I signed. She sent the retractions. Her best friend texted me when she received hers. 2 words. It's done. The fallout moved through our social circle in ways I hadn't fully anticipated. 3 mutual friends reached out with real apologies, not just texts. 2 of them called. The basketball guy called me on a Sunday afternoon and said, I went hard at you based on nothing but her word. That's not something I can walk back with a sorry. But I am sorry. Genuinely. I told him I appreciated it and I meant it. My mother called the Saturday, after everything settled. She'd watched all 5 clips. I believed her, she said quietly. I know, Mom. I should have called you first. Yes, I said. You should have.
We didn't linger on it.
We moved on the way our family moves on, not by pretending it didn't happen, but by not letting it become the whole story. About a month after everything settled, her best friend texted me one more time. For what it's worth, I told her what she did was wrong. She didn't respond well to that. I replied, I believe it. That was the last message in that thread. The settlement document sits in a folder on my hard drive. I don't open it.
I don't need to.
But I know it's there, a signed, legally binding acknowledgement that every statement she made was false. That's all I wanted from the beginning. Not money. Not a public apology. Not for her to suffer. Just for the record to be accurate. Just for the lie to have a document sitting next to it that tells the truth. The cameras are still up. Good security. And honestly, a pretty solid reminder that when someone tries to make you the villain, the most powerful thing you can do is just not be one. Quietly.
Consistently.
On camera. She told me her plan out loud before she executed it, because she was that confident I couldn't do anything about it. She was wrong. If you stayed through this whole thing and want to see what happens when I document other life situations with the same energy, hit subscribe because apparently I've got a system